You're live.
Yeah, okay. It says that we're live. Hello, my dudes. How are you guys doing? We're gonna go ahead and do all the YouTubey things, so like share on our Instagram and stuff, and just wait for
I
people
can't share
to.
anything because I use my phone right now.
Okay, well I'll share it. I think you shared it earlier, anyways, right?
Yeah, I did a post on Instagram.
All right. Let me see if it's showing up on my thing already.
Yeah, it's showing up on my channel.
uh, yeah, I see it on yours, but for some reason I can't see it on mine.
Let me see.
Yeah, nope, it's not showing up on mine. We might not be even streaming to mine.
We have to start over. We can start over.
Um, shoot. Okay. I don't know. What if I just send everyone to your channel?
We could do that. It's up to
Uh,
you.
all right, let's do that. I think I might have forgotten to like add myself to. Let me see if I can edit it. Yeah, here it goes. I forgot to
No, she's
stream
not
to
streaming to her.
mine.
Oh,
Dun dun dun.
you didn't add yourself?
Yeah, mashed potato brain. I'm telling you, girl. I'm telling you. There we go. Okay, I think I did it. Library. Bro, I'm telling you. Just all of the mashed potatoes today. Here it goes. All right. Let me share it. And I don't think there's anyone here. I don't know if there's anyone on your channel.
No, there's nobody here.
Okay, let me share it.
Nope.
Um
Just my chat saying hey to everybody.
that was very close, up and personal.
And now my mom's chat.
uh okay. Pew, 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 pew.
Let's just give people a couple of minutes.
Yeah. Did you share it on the Discord?
No, let me go do that.
Okay.
I can do that from the computer.
Okay. Awesome.
Volume.
Why isn't it doing it?
Hmm? The volume is gone. We can't hear you.
I can
How do
hear
you
you.
know? She can hear me. I can't hear you. But here. How are you listening? Oh, good point.
It's okay. It happens.
She's got mashed potato brain too.
Same. That's the vibe today. Mashed potato brains. All right. I shared it. And then. Um, all right. I think it says there's 4 people on here.
Yeah. Yeah, my mom's one.
Okay. Okay. So what are we talking about today? Let's just let them come in whenever they do. Oh my god. All right, hi my dudes. So we've been having all the technical difficulties. I've had mashed potato brains all day long, so I forgot to add myself to the stream. Then I couldn't find myself on the stream, and yeah, it's been a wild 5 minutes so far. 4 minutes 30 seconds.
4 minutes, 30 seconds. Who's counting?
Yeah, but today we're gonna be doing just a chill mommy episode, and we're gonna be talking about our children with special needs, and you're gonna be getting 2 points of view. One from a seasoned mom of 9 years who has a lot of experience, and one from a mom that just recently find out about her child's diagnoses and This should be interesting. So I think for this episode, or actually just we're like equal partners here, but because Tanya has a lot more experience under her belt, I'm gonna go ahead and let her take the lead. And just when you're ready, Bessie.
Okay,
Hi
so
Sky,
I
hi
shared all the
Catherine.
discords. I shared them all to
Okay.
all the discords.
All right.
So hopefully that'll get
Awesome. I think
people
people are
rocking and
slowly
rolling.
coming in.
Well, I mean, it's been a kind of weird Monday for everybody. I mean,
Yes.
I've been seeing a lot of people are kind of down and in the dumps, and it makes me sad because it's
You
like,
have to
no.
remember, what's it called? Was that one channel? Was that one channel? Was that one planet? Mercury is in the Gatorade or in the
Yeah,
microwave.
Mercury's in Gatorade right now.
So I think that's why we're all having like a weird time lately, because Mercury's in the microwave. Hi,
Oh, yep.
Carrie. Yeah.
What's up, Carrie? And Catherine, thank you for coming. No, my son, as you all know, Sean, he
Mhm.
is 9 years old. He'll be 10 in April. Holy crap. It's been a long ride. He has been diagnosed with autism, ADHD, type 1 diabetes, celiac disease, and we are testing him for potential hearing loss. So he's got a kind of like a mishmash of things that are going on with him. And it was funny because when I got the diagnosis, a lot of people of autism, a lot of people were like, well, aren't you disappointed? I'm like, no, because I already knew. You just know as a mom that something is like different. They think different. They do things different than what a typically developing or a typically a non neurodivergent person would be.
Mhm.
So I'm right now I'm actually in a fight with the school because the school refuses to acknowledge his autism diagnosis because he can hold a conversation and look you in the eye.
Uh-huh.
What they are failing to realize is that he's not looking them in the eye, he's looking just past them, which is a common autism trait. It makes people think that they're getting the eye contact when they're
When they're
actually
not.
not.
Mm-hmm.
And that's like one of the most common traits of autism is the lack of eye contact because it makes them uncomfortable.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, we're all in a position where it's hard. Unless you live it,
Mm-hmm.
you can't really describe it.
Yeah.
So I would much rather field questions than, yeah, he was diagnosed with autism. Yeah, he would line his cars up, biggest and smallest and bicolored.
Yeah.
He's got OCD traits. He's got, dyslexia and dysgraphia and dyscalculia traits. He's got, I forgot one, an unidentified intellectual disability.
Mm-hmm.
According to my son's last IQ test, he's got an IQ 73, which we all think is bullshit.
Yeah.
Because if you've ever heard him talk,
yeah, he talks like a grown little man.
he talks like a 35-year-old. He really does. Hey, Harper. Asking a mother if she is disappointed their kid is on the spectrum is kind of rude. People with disabilities deserve to live like any of us. Exactly. I don't want to say disappointed, but the one person that I did tell that was in my family that he was autistic. Now, we got his diagnosis late because I taught children with special needs. I should be able to help my child, and it was nothing like that.
Yeah.
I couldn't help him. He was attached to my hip, and I would give in instead of watching him melt down. Instead of letting him learn the coping mechanisms before grade 1.
So let me ask you this: at what age did Sean get diagnosed, and what went through your mind when it recently happened. And the reason why I'm asking this is because obviously I'm going to be sharing our story, mine and Leo's story, and obviously my husband's story today. And ours is really, really fresh because obviously Leo's only 3. But I want to hear your story, yours and Sean's story. How did I go? Why did you end up getting him evaluated, and how old was he?
He was we they wouldn't test him back in Massachusetts where we used to live because
Mm-hmm.
he was borderline. He wasn't speaking. He didn't speak in full sentences until he was about 4.5, 5 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and from that point, I got him into a doctor, and it took me almost 3 years to get an MHMR diagnosis for him
Yeah.
because the waiting list to get diagnosed is so long. Now, yeah, they'll take a pediatrician. A pediatrician could sit there and say, "Yeah, he's got autism." Sure.
Yeah.
But you need a clinical diagnosis from a clinician that's all they do
Yeah.
is test children for autism and different um, mental mental illnesses because they have to follow a strict guideline
Yeah.
of
There's a lot involved.
there's it's my testing took almost 6 hours.
Yeah.
And the only reason why I remember this is because it was 3 days after he got diagnosed with diabetes. So he was 7.
Yeah.
And I fought his endocrinologist to let us go. And it was literally right before COVID hit and the hospitals closed and wasn't allowing anyone to leave and weren't allowing anyone to come in. I
Yeah.
beat that clock, not realizing I beat that clock. You know what I
Mm-hmm.
mean? So that was scary. And we say around here, Sean's got a lot to say because he went so long without speaking.
Yeah.
And his speech
He
pathologist
loves
back in
the conversation.
Massachusetts, now he can have a full on conversation with you
Yeah.
and you think you're talking to someone who's 35. But he's so much more mature for his age. And that's what you're going to find with a lot of people, at least children that I've seen with autism, is that they think so differently and so outside the box
Yeah.
that it almost makes them mature faster in certain
Mm-hmm.
areas. But then on the flip side of that, they are, at least Sean is behind.
Yeah.
He's intellectually, I don't know if it's because of the intellectual disability or if it's because of the autism, but he's 9 chronologically, but he is about 7 intellectually as a whole.
Yeah.
So you have to come up with different types of punishments and discipline for a child that may be 9, but has the understanding of that of a 7-year-old.
Yeah, it's difficult to discipline them, especially when you recently get the diagnosis. And that's where we're at right now. So before, I guess I should start at the beginning. Before we used to like do the, if he threw something, because he's very big on throwing stuff, and I don't really care if it's like just things, but if it's food, we don't do that. We don't play and we don't waste food around here. So it would be a quick,
Right.
you know, or if he was like throwing himself on the floor or whatever, I'd pick him up and give him a quick on the butt. Not enough to hurt him, just to kind of like snap him out of it. That's what we were
Mm-hmm.
doing before. I've never really believed in like spanking or hitting or whoopings or nothing like that, because we got that when I was growing up. Like me and my brother got that when we were growing up, and I just never wanted to do that with my children. um, so Leo is 3. For those of you that don't know, Leo is 3, and he got diagnosed not that long ago. Actually, that's the last time that we were on here. It was about a month ago, and that's actually why I had to take the last episode off, because I was still kind of like processing everything that was going on. So initially we were getting Leo evaluated because of his speech delay. He turned 3 in June 14th. He turned 3, and my old pediatrician had already told me, hey, if by the age of 3 he's not talking, because at 2 he wasn't talking, you might need to take him in for an evaluation so that he can enroll into speech therapy at a school. And
Right.
so I had to switch pediatricians for some bullshit that happened, and whenever he was about to turn 3, I mentioned that what the other pediatrician has said to me to the new pediatrician. She was like, oh, he is 3. Yeah, he should be talking in full sentences well enough for strangers to understand what he's talking about, what he's saying. And I was like, well, yeah, he doesn't, he's barely like speaking. Like, he's known his letters, colors, numbers, shapes, planets since he was like 2, but he cannot form a full sentence. And
Right.
so whenever we took him to the evaluations, in my mind it was always just for speech therapy. It was just to see if he was going to need it to get us approved for speech therapy, and that was it. So we in total went to 6 evaluations, if I'm not mistaken. They were each about 2 to 3 hours with different sets of professionals, just to make sure, I guess, that they weren't like misdiagnosing him or whatever. And in the last one, the very last one, which it was like 3 weeks ago now, uh, they were like, hey, so we have to talk. The psychologist was the one that sat me down, and she was like, we have to talk. Um, so he's showing traits of autism and also ADHD. And I was not expecting this, so I was heartbroken. Um, it was very unexpected. I think in the back of my mind, I kind of already expected the autism diagnoses, or like the fact that he probably might be on the spectrum, simply because I saw some traits that my nephew also has, and my nephew just got at the beginning of the year diagnosed with autism. And so, like, for example, some of the traits that I saw from Leo is when he gets excited,
The
or he'll
flapping.
like, yeah, the flapping, or he'll like grab something and get real excited and go like, so,
Hmm.
I saw some of that. So the autism wasn't super unexpected for us, but the ADHD was. He also has traits of OCD because, like you said, Sean would align his cars from biggest to smallest and then colors. Leo does the same exact thing. His stuff is organized a certain way, and that's the way he likes it. And
Yep.
like, in the back of my mind, it was just like, well, I'm like that. I'm like that. He gets that from me because I'm very organized. His dad, on the other hand, not very organized. But me, I was like, oh yeah, that's my boy because he's organized. Turns out I might have traits of OCD. So um it was really difficult, I think, for me, because I just, again, wasn't expecting it. I thought that we were just going for the evaluation for the speech delay, and then it ended up being like the ADHD and the autism, which I know it's not the end of the world, and I understand that, and I know he's going to be fine, and I know we're going to be fine, and I know things might just get a little bit hard for him, but he will be able to have a decent, pretty normal life, whatever the fuck that is, as long as we like work with him and we educate ourselves, which is what I'm trying to do. And that's why I felt it important to have this conversation, because when I got the diagnosis, the first person I called was Tanya, and I was like crying, and I was like, I don't know how to feel. Like, I know it's not the end of the world, and blah blah blah. And she's like, no. What was it that she said to me, Tanya?
You have to mourn the child that you thought you had in order to accept the one that you currently have.
Yeah.
So you'd be able to help them get through all of their therapy, all of the extra work, just, I'm going to say it, just the extra. On Tuesdays and Wednesdays, I'm running out my ass with appointments because Sean's
Yeah.
got speech therapy twice a week, OT twice a week, PT once a week, ABA therapy once a week, um, numerous doctor's appointments between endocrinology and his primary care physician because he has to go for ADHD and his regular checkups and if he's sick. So this child is either at a doctor or a therapist's office, and I had to get notes to cover the year for any absences, tardies, early dismissals, all of that, just to cover him so I wouldn't get marked as truant.
Yeah.
You know, so it's one of those things that once someone gets they get their child's diagnosis of being autistic, they start looking inward and saying, what did I do wrong? What could I have changed? Should I change his diet? Should I do, extra help now instead of just letting them be a kid and letting them be themselves and encouraging that behavior? Now, see, I'm pro stim in my house. If he wants to flap, he can flap. He gets that really tense, when he's super
when they
excited, he
shake,
gets like that too. Yeah.
Leo does that too.
He'll go.
Yeah.
And he'll shake. But the funny thing is that, and you got to be careful because there's stimming behavior that's called SIB, it's self-injurious behavior.
Yeah.
So when that happens, they'll scratch, they'll bite, they'll bang their heads off of a surface. And I don't mean a soft surface either.
Yeah.
Sean does that. He used to do it a lot more now, or a lot more back when we first got diagnosed than he does now.
Yeah.
But at school, he has scratched himself. He has broke his glasses. He has banged his head off of desks, off of walls, to the point where he'll get an egg on his forehead. He's drawn blood a couple of times scratching. He won't let wounds heal, like little bug bites or a rash that he may have had from contact dermatitis.
Yeah.
He'll pick at them. And that is self-injurious behavior because they'll pick at themselves until they bleed.
Yeah. And
So
I think my nephew has that. Like, he'll get bug bites and he'll just scratch it until he bleeds. And yeah, I think the psychologist did mention that to me, like, hey, you need to keep an eye out for this behavior. But Leo's thing is, the one behavior that I would consider like destructive is he throws stuff. When he gets really, really upset, he'll just like flip something across the room. It doesn't matter what it is. Whatever's in front of him first, that's what he'll throw. I think that's the one thing that we're working on right now. So right now, what I'm doing whenever he does throw a fit like that, I'll just like hold him from both of his shoulders and be like, hey, it's okay. Do you want a hug? And he'll like either hug me or push me away. If he pushes me away, I'll put him like not necessarily in timeout, but I'll stand him or sit him somewhere and be like, when you calm down, you come to me. And so that's where we're at right now. But we still have like issues with it sometimes, and I get very frustrated and I catch myself and I'm like, you need to be patient with him. Need to be patient with him because normally I think I don't ever like, we don't really yell a lot, but like we'll be like, yeah, enough, suficiente, that's it. Like we'll do that. But we're trying really hard, both me and my husband, and I have to say I have a great partner. Like he's been very supportive, very patient with both of us, very patient with me, being patient with our son. It's definitely been like a group effort. So I'm really thankful for that. And it's just a whole new world, and it's something that you don't really think about until you're there. Because I mean, for me, I know that for a couple of years I knew about my nephew, like, oh, he might have it. Like I think they told her when he was like 3, he's now 5, and they told her he might be on the spectrum. So just, it was like present in my life because I knew that there was like certain behaviors, like in the flapping, or like he gets very excited and he laughs really loud, which I think is the cutest thing ever. But when you are out like in public and you catch other children or like even adults, like we've had that happen at like family gatherings at my grandma's house, where they just laugh at him. Now, if you know anything about me, is that I don't take no bullshit. I was not there, but my brother still does not go to my grandmother's house since that day. And that was like a year ago, I think, or a year and a half ago, because they laughed at him because they saw him laughing and flapping his hands. And they were like, oh, he looks the R word. And my brother's just, he's not a confrontational person, but obviously that hurt his feelings. That is his child. I wish I would have been there because I would have thrown some hands. And for legal purposes, that's a joke. But if you know, you know. And I just caught myself, like, again, Leo's diagnosis wasn't that long ago, but we just had an incident at the park. We just had an incident at the park, and I was texting Tanya. There was like a little boy first, and he was like, "Hey, I don't want to be his friend. Why is he following me, Daddy?" Like, he asked his dad, and his dad was like, "Hey, the playground is not yours. He's playing around you, not with you. He's not even talking to you." And so the dad was like, "Great." I was like, "I appreciate you, my guy. Like, thanks for not letting your kid be an asshole, you know?" And later there was two girls. They were like a little older, I suppose like 5 or 6 or something. And there was two of them, and they were playing with some cars, and he walked up to them, but he's like real shy. And I was like, "Ask him, puppy, be like, can I play?" And so he said, "I play." And they were like, "Oh no." And like they walked off, right? And they left the cars there for him to play with. And so they went to another place, but he wanted to play with them. And so he played for a little bit. Me and my husband played with him. They left like the little dump trucks or whatever there. And he found them later. So he goes again. And I'm supposing that one of the oldest girls was like, "Oh, here comes that stupid boy again." And I know she was like 5 or 6.
That word's not even allowed in my house.
I know that little girl was 5 or 6, but it infuriated me. And my husband was like, "Baby, they're just children." I was like, "I don't give a fuck." Like, the dad was right there, and he just said, "That's not nice," and that's it. That's all he said the whole time. And so then they got
I'll
up and
fight
they
the
left
daddy.
again. I know, you told me. So the girls got up and they left again, and then they left the toys again. And so Leo played for a little bit, and then finally we were like, "Hey, let's go." We had, at that point, we had been there for like 2 hours, and my husband was like, "Ice cream?" And Leo was like, "Hell yeah, ice cream truck, let's go." And Aaron. And so
Aaron's in the house.
hi, Aaron. And so we went to get ice cream, and Leo took to the cars, and I was like, "Okay, whenever we strap him into his car, into the car seat, I'll get the cars and I'll bring them back, because obviously we're not gonna let him take something that's not his." And
Right.
when I was walking back to leave the toys, the girl, "Oh my God, did you see that stupid boy? Did you see that stupid boy? He was so weird." To the other little girl, "Oh my God." Guys, the feelings that I felt in that moment. And I was like, I don't even know what I'm going to do when he comes home and tells me that someone hurt his feelings at school. Like, I can't picture it. I can't imagine it. Like,
It's gonna hurt.
Aaron.
It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt, and then
Yeah.
you're gonna get real mad. And
Like,
that's
if
when you go Mama Bear at school. At the
yeah,
school.
whenever he comes home crying, talking about someone broke my heart, mommy, someone was mean to me, I don't know what I'm gonna be. I don't know what I'm gonna do. So it like hurt my feelings. So how do you holy shit, how do you deal with stuff like that, Tanya?
How do I deal with it? I
Yes.
threaten to beat their mama's ass.
Oh my God.
For legal purposes, that was a joke.
Stop.
But no, for real, no. It happened to Sean his first go around in first grade.
Uh-huh.
Let me answer this question first.
Uh-huh.
Tanya and Karina, are they very literal? There's little joking with my A. I cannot joke with Sean. He takes it way too serious. He doesn't understand that we're joking and like poking fun at him, or being sarcastic. He doesn't get any of that. That's why he's going to be in ABA therapy. They're going to teach him how to recognize those social cues.
Yeah.
But how I handled it the first go around in first grade was I went to the school, because what had happened was I had a teacher text me. His teacher texted me and asked me if Sean likes to play alone. And I said, no, why? She took a picture. And I'll never forget it. It's on my old phone, the iPhone that died, of my little boy playing alone in the dirt with a stick.
Oh no.
So I was like, nah, I
Always
don't know.
parents,
I mean, there's
always.
kids that he plays with kids. He plays with kids that are older than him. He gets along
Hi,
with kids that
Lori.
are older than him.
Mm-hmm.
He gets along with children that are younger than him, but his peers he struggles with a lot.
Do
He's
you want to
met.
answer this question?
Are they in schools with fellow autistic children? No, my son is in a typically developing, just a regular elementary school. I don't know if there's other autistic kids in his class. I know he goes to resource room and he's one of 5 kids in that class, but that's just twice a day for math and reading. But I went to the school because these group of kids told Sean that he's so weird that he needs to be on meds.
Uh-huh.
I lost my shit. I said, that's bullying. They
Yeah.
overheard that from an adult because there's no first grader that's going to be like, oh, you need to be on meds. So they heard it either at home or they overheard teachers talking. I said, this problem will be
Yeah, I mean,
rectified.
it's learned behavior.
It is.
For
Bullying is a
sure.
learned behavior. And so I followed up with the school and the vice principal at the time. She's now principal, and I love her. Miss Lange, she's the best. Took care of it, and she pulled the children aside, and now they're friends of Sean's. But it took that initial mama bear reaction going. I physically got up off my fat ass and marched my butt up to the school because it's right around the corner. And I got in their face. And I said, this is not going to happen to my child. He's got special needs, and you guys have to protect him under law. I quoted the law. They got real scared. I said, if I have to get Region 12 and I don't know what happened to Brina, but she'll be back. Woo! It's the timing show. But no, I laid into the school and I made sure that they fully understood where I was coming from. Anybody else? I'm looking at my chat, at least in my chat on my computer. Carrie says it's also just a matter of learning what works with each child, and to be honest, that applies to both neurotypical and neurodivergent children. There she
Okay.
is.
I don't know what happened. I don't know what happened. My computer just like bloop. But I have a question before I forget because mashed potato rings. Can any
Okay,
of you see my aura right now? And if you can, what color is it?
I
I
can't
find
see
that
yours,
interesting.
so I'm not even gonna.
No? Okay,
Mm-mm.
I don't think I can either, but I was asked to ask. I'm sorry I missed your answer to the question. You said that no, that he goes to a normal school, right? A regular school?
He goes to a neurotypical school. It's in an integrated classroom. So there are
Uh-huh.
other children there with special needs. I just don't know what they are because of privacy.
Mm-hmm.
But he has not had any issues the last 2 years with kids picking on him
Yeah.
because I went and laid the smack down.
As far as I know, Leo is going to be hi Amy. Leo's going to be going to just again a regular school. He's just going to be in a special program for speech therapy, and they also do have more children with special needs in his class. I don't know necessarily when he's going to start school just yet, but they said that most likely this month.
That will be really good for him, Karina, socially. See, I was trying to get Sean on an even keel emotionally and socially, so I held him back from going to school when he was 5, and I shouldn't have done it. It's one of my biggest regrets. because when he went into school, because he was 6, they put him in first grade. He'd never
Uh-huh.
been in any kind of classroom before. And he failed miserably, so he had to repeat first grade. My parents were the type at school or park, whatever, you play with everyone. I'm like that too, but he gets to the point where he gets overstimulated, but he still wants to play. So I'll let him play by himself.
Yeah, Leo is more the type of kid that plays around kids, not necessarily with kids.
Yep.
He does play with kids, and if they invite him, but if they like verbally say, "Hey, come on, let's go play," then he'll go. But he'll never. Obviously, he doesn't talk in full sentences yet, so he'll never be the one to be like, "Hi, I want to play with you today" or whatever.
See,
But
Sean's
he'll
like
play
that
around
now.
kids. Yeah.
Sean's like that now. So it did take a lot of work, but it's so worth it to see him blossom. Like now he'll walk up, introduce himself, put out his hand for a handshake or a high five or a fist
Yeah.
bump.
Oh, Leo do a high five or a fist bump for sure. But he's not with the Mexican mwah, mwah. He's not with that. The only woman aside from me that gets kisses is my mom. That's it. He don't really kiss nobody else. He's just like, mm-mm. No, don't come into my personal bubble. And not gonna lie, I love that about him. It is hard
Mm-hmm.
to advocate for these kids. The worst part, he already heard it. That is heartbreaking. Yeah. It's also
It
just
is
a
hard.
matter, yeah. It's also just a matter of learning what works with each child, and to be honest, that applies to both. Yeah.
Neurotypical and neurodivergent children.
Yep.
That's what NT and ND means. NT means neurotypical, and ND stands for neurodivergent.
Erin has a question for you guys.
Look, I see a haze around you. I just can't tell what color. But it
Yeah.
is, I can see something bright, but that's,
I'm glowing. My potato self is glowing. Goes to a regular and bilingual school, but she has uh A goes to a regular and bilingual school, but she has a strong IEP and does speech and social emotional sessions each day and week. That's great.
that's amazing.
She's getting that attention that she needs. I think for me, the thing that I struggle with the most with his diagnosis is my mom and my husband were very much of the ain't nothing wrong with Leo.
Yep.
Ain't nothing.
My dad was like that too.
Yeah, ain't nothing wrong with him. Like, there's something wrong with him. And I'm of the mind frame, like the frame of thought that I'd rather know so that we can get him the attention and the support that he needs. Like, I'd rather know. And the psychologist also recommended that we get my husband and me tested as well,
Mm-hmm.
evaluated as well. And my husband said, mm-mm. And I said, hey, yeah.
Look, if they recommend, like, if I talk to my doctor will put in the referral for me to get tested.
Yeah.
I don't, it's not that I don't want to know. It's that I know it runs in my family because my brother, even though he's never been officially diagnosed, I'm diagnosing him with everything that I've seen growing up with this boy or man.
Yeah.
He's autistic.
I think my husband might have ADHD because he makes some, in my opinion, he
Is he impulsive?
he makes, yes, and he's very I personally think your aura is green planty mama. Hi Amber. I personally think that he
Hi,
makes things
Amber.
harder than they have to be sometimes on himself, and then he gets frustrated, and I'm just like, didn't you think of doing it this way? Like, why didn't you just do it this way? And he's like, fuck, I didn't think of that. So I think that he does have ADHD.
ADHD is a hard one, and to be completely honest, that one was harder for me to swallow
Yeah,
than the autism diagnosis because I knew
I
that
think
my child needed medication in order to succeed in school.
same here. If you can have a diagnosis, you can make a plan. It's just feeling helpless that was so hard for me. I just had no idea what to do. Amy, same. I felt guilty and I knew that there was nothing I could have done to like change it or anything. But what's it called? I I didn't know what to do. I felt like there was something I could have done, even though the psychologist and like, you know, the support team that we're working with said, no, there's nothing you could have done. Like there's it's nothing that
Nope.
you did. But I couldn't help feeling guilty. You know what I mean?
It's the mom guilt. And
Yeah.
I'm with Amy. You gotta have a strong plan in place. Don't let these schools, because the schools get money for each child that is on an IEP, they get extra money. Okay? So don't let them just give you some generic IEP and say, oh, he gets speech, because Sean at first was only getting speech once a week for 20 minutes
Yeah.
at school. Now he's up to 2 days a week, 20 minutes a day at school. And then he gets it 2 days a week at the therapy center that we go to here in town. So he gets an hour a week plus the 40 minutes. So he's getting an hour and 40 minutes worth of speech a week.
Leo's going to be in the class, I think 4 hours a day, 5 days a week.
Are you going to put him in 5 days a week?
Yeah, well, that's the program we were offered.
Oh, that's really good.
Yeah. Yeah.
My brother and my mom have ADHD, so I probably have traits. I have adult because I have fibromyalgia. I have adult onset ADHD, and it sucks because I have a drug past that included stimulants. So I can't take the medication that they would offer me because it could trigger me and trigger my addiction issues. So I have to learn coping mechanisms for my ADHD without medication. And that's like the roughest thing, to watch your child suffer and go through that before you get a diagnosis for ADHD, that they're struggling and they can't pay attention and they just don't get it and they don't understand why.
Yeah. Like no matter
That
how
was the
what you
hardest pill for me to
try.
swallow.
Yeah. And that's what I tell my husband. I'm like, I'd rather know and be able to get him what he needs to succeed, to like have a, you know, decent learning experience, because I don't want him to go to like regular kid classes or like whatever you want to call them, and then him get bullied because he's not getting it. And like in my mom's opinion, she was like, well, no, if you take him to the doctor, they're going to tell you they have that he has something, because they just don't know what to diagnose kids with anymore. And I'm just like, well,
That's
it's
not
not that
true.
they, yeah, I was like, it's not that they don't know what to diagnose kids with anymore. It's just that now they have the resources to diagnose kids that they couldn't do like when I was a kid, you know? And I was like, but I'm pretty sure if I get tested, I got some shit. Like I'm pretty positive I have some form of OCD. I have anxiety. I suffer from depression as well, and so I know there's something up. And like again, I feel like my husband may have ADHD, and he's just like no. And I was like, maybe you can get on some medication that could help you live a more a less stressful life. Let's put it that way, because again, sometimes he makes things harder on himself, and he stresses out. And I'm like, maybe if you got diagnosed and got some medication, this might be easier on you. But he's just like, what for? You know, he's like, I already got
It's
diabetes.
hard
I don't need to take anything else for nothing. I'm like, well, if it's gonna help you, why don't you?
because there's such, look, ADHD is classified as a mental illness, so is an autism. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And there's still a huge stigma around medication, for especially for ADHD. Oh, you're doping your kids so they'll calm down.
Yeah.
Let them be a kid. Let them run around. I
Yeah.
heard that not 2 weeks ago from somebody when I was picking up medication that was not his ADHD, but I was talking with the pharmacist about it, and they overheard my conversation. They were like, you're doping your kid. And it was a complete stranger.
Yeah.
And I told them to get fucked and mind their own damn business.
Yep. That would have been my response.
But there's still a huge stigma. I mean, even around depression and anxiety, there's still a huge stigma around taking medication.
Yeah.
Look, just because, like, would you not do chemo if you had cancer? You have diabetes, you're not going to take insulin?
We're here for it, Carrie. Yeah, I mean, I feel like at this point we should be able to do whatever, be on whatever medication or do whatever sort of therapy or whatever that we feel is best for us and our children without any
Absolutely.
judgment, you know?
And do not, when you go and put them in school, okay, and I mean like regular school, like kindergarten, first grade,
Yeah.
if they start bringing up medication, you tell them that that's illegal. They cannot do that.
Yeah.
They're diagnosing your child without they're practicing medicine without a license if they're telling you your child needs medication.
Yeah, the psychologist told me that the only person that could do that is a specialist. So like working with the team, that's a good. I think that's the good thing about like our situation. We immediately started working with a team of people, and I am able to trade one psychologist for another if I want to. So same thing with the speech therapist. If I don't feel comfortable or something happens, I can always just call and like switch them out and say I don't feel comfortable. This is not what we want. This is not the type of support that we need, and we'll get it figured out.
Let me try to type this again. My brother made teachers cry because of his ADHD. The 80 and 90 were a different time. The 80s and 90s were a different time. I mean, I grew up in the 90s, man, and the only time you saw autism were kids wearing helmets
Yeah,
because they were classified as what they called headbangers,
yeah,
and they would give themselves concussions. Those were the kids that were labeled autistic. But now that we're seeing such a surge of neurodivergent people, it's amazing to see that people in their 30s, 40s, and 50s are getting diagnosed with being neurodivergent, autistic, ADHD, OCD, you name it. They're getting
yeah,
diagnosed with it. They're finally able to get the help that they need because there's no longer that stigma around it with the DSM-4 that was so the way that they had it. Well, it was actually with the DSM-3, which is the diagnostic book that they use.
yeah.
I read it for fun once because I'm so into like mental illnesses and how they work and how to diagnose. I read the DSM-4,
Yeah.
not cover to cover, but I went over the ones that I was particularly interested in, and autism was one of them. And the DSM-4 had such criteria for autism diagnosis that it was a very, very, very broad umbrella. A very broad umbrella. So, were there people who were diagnosed with autism that probably shouldn't, that were probably more so OCD, neurodivergent? Probably. But I think everybody shows a little bit of autism. And because if you think about it, the greatest minds of our time, if they got tested, they would probably be autistic. Steve Jobs,
Probably.
Einstein, Bill Gates.
Yeah.
I would bet my life that they would be on the spectrum.
Don't do that. That's a little extreme, but yeah, I agree. I agree. Yeah. I think that
Yes, Harper,
for
we're on the DSM-5.
I think that for me getting tested is only going to confirm like what I already think about myself, like how I feel about myself. And the reason why I want to do it is because it took me so long to even get like on anxiety and depression medication. I no longer take it. I just go to therapy and it's pretty manageable now. But there was a
Mm-hmm.
point in time where it wasn't. It wasn't like I needed medication to just get through the day. And I understand that not everyone heals the same. Not everybody's able to be on and off their meds. So like I get that. I personally, if I don't feel like I absolutely need it, I don't take it. And I don't mean like I let it get really bad. Like if I take a second and I'm like, okay, there's no way in how I'm going to be able to get this under control by myself, like just with my breathing exercises or like whatever, I that's when I'm just like, okay, no, it's time for medication. It's time for medication. So I don't ever let myself get to a point to where it gets super super bad. But even then, it took my mom a minute to like the
Come
stigma
around.
in Mexican households of mental illness is not like a thing. Like it's not a thing. We all have bad days. We all have this and that. Hi, DC. It's like it's a very hard pill to swallow for Mexicans that
Mhm.
there's mental illness, and it sucks because when you're a child growing up, you feel like you don't know how to express yourself and how to say what's wrong or how you feel for the fear of being judged. And when you tell your parents, maybe I might need this, they're like, no, no, you don't. That's like, um, you just want like medicine or whatever for no reason. So,
Right.
yeah,
They think that
even
you're doping. They think you're doping yourself up
yeah,
for
so
no
even
reason.
now with my son, it's hard to talk about his diagnoses with family members because it's
You
just
don't
like
talk about it.
yeah, I don't want to. I don't want to because for what? To get judged, to say like, "Oh, I'm a bad mom and that's why something's wrong with my kid or whatever." Because I know that's what they're thinking and it's
But it has
wild.
nothing to do with you.
Yeah, I know, but that's just the Mexican mind frame. Like that's
True.
just how
We're
they
coming
think.
from two different cultures.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
get
yeah.
that.
So I feel like this is why I think that these conversations are very important to have, even if I know that I'm never gonna change the mind of like my relatives or whatever. Like it's okay. I am okay with just having this community or like our little group of people who understand and like hype each other up and confide in each other about situations like this and things that have to do to this. This is also why I just saw Harper's name on the screen the other day when she brought up the fact that maybe people misspell or like can't do proper punctuation or whatever. Um, because of learning disabilities,
Yep.
it immediately clicked with me. I never had thought about it before. I didn't give it a second thought. But once she brought it up, I was like, you know what, you're right. I never thought of that. And so it's important to tell people stuff like that. It's important to call people out when you feel like they're doing something that doesn't agree with you or something you feel
Right.
isn't just. I get that and I really appreciate that. I love having those conversations and I already apologized in the Discord, in DC's
Yep. I saw
Discord,
that and
to
I
Harper,
was
but I
confused.
want to take this opportunity to apologize publicly. Like honestly, my intention was never to offend anyone, and now I know to keep that in mind for next time that I'm judging something like that. I didn't mean any offense to it. It's just at that time I felt like, well, this is like a group kind of project situation. Therefore, someone should have caught this. But yes, I 100% agree. Maybe she was stressed out. Maybe she does have a learning disability, and therefore didn't catch her own mistakes. And I truly and sincerely apologize for that because I should have never said what I said. Like it was not my intention to hurt anyone or
You
invalidate
didn't
anyone's
know any different.
feelings or yeah, I just didn't even consider that to be a thing. So again, I formally and publicly apologize for that. I will keep that in mind going forward, and
Yeah, me too.
I really appreciate Harper bringing that up. Like it's a very valid point. I didn't think everything was doing it out of malice. No, we weren't. We weren't, but it's still important to apologize when you know and you feel in your heart that you like did something wrong. I am very much for admitting my faults. So that's who I am. I am so out of breath today.
So we're in the last, like, call it 10 minutes.
Yeah.
Does anybody have any questions for me or Karina regarding our children or our own diagnoses? Because I've got a plethora of them. Um, but I want to leave it. Hi, Jess.
Hi, Jess.
Uh, I want to leave it to you guys because like I was telling Karina before we got
Thank you, Harper.
on, I would much rather someone ask me a question,
Mm.
pull me aside, ask me a question, get in my face and ask me a question.
Yeah.
Not accuse me of anything, but just ask me a question about why my son's doing what he's doing. Instead of pointing and staring and
Laughing,
making, yeah, laughing
judging.
or, just being an asshole. I'd much rather people.
Catherine.
Yes, we do put the fun in dysfunction. Absolutely.
Thanks. I appreciate that.
Absolutely. A was evaluated through Easter seals, and the amount of resources they tried to give us through Autism Speaks nauseated me. Fuck Autism Speaks.
Yeah.
Fuck them, because I could go on an hour-long tangent about Autism Speaks.
Maybe another day, maybe for another episode.
Mm-hmm. Because it's important that people understand that Autism Speaks has got a very, very, very dirty background. Very dirty. They're not about autism at all. They're about making money off of people who are autistic, and it's disgusting.
Yeah, anyone that wants to benefit off of anyone with a disability or a special need is disgusting in my book.
Thank you, Carrie. But I mean, I would leave it up to you guys. I mean, any kind of question. Karina, if you have any questions, I mean, I have only been doing this. Yes, I've been raising my son for 9 years.
Thank you.
But officially, we just got the diagnosis a couple of years ago.
Yeah. I just want to, I mean, I know our group of people doesn't like judge or like whatever, and we are all about having the conversations here. But for anyone that might come across this video that doesn't know us or follow us already, we want to just make it a point to maybe be a little less mom shamey and a little, or dad shamey. In
Or
public, when
grandma
you
or grandpa
see, yeah,
shaming.
whatever, whenever you see a kid having a meltdown in public, just because you never know, it might be a child with ADHD, autism, anxiety, what have you. And I think like in our society, it's so easy to just point a finger and be like, my kid would never, because this and this and that, or like,
Clutch
clutch your
the
pearls.
pearls.
Yeah. I think it's very common in our society to do that, and I think it's up to us to break that cycle and to be a little bit more aware of our surroundings and people around us, and be more considerate of the parents who are clearly having a hard time with a kid with possibly special needs. So I think my final thoughts is, I am now at a good place where I am just trying to educate myself, and like, Tanya has been of so much help to me, honestly, these past few weeks. She's been she was there with me through my meltdown. She heard me just like sob like a baby on the phone. She gave me the advice that she wished she would have gotten when she found out about Sean. And honestly, I really truly appreciate that. Also, shout out to my husband, because we make a great team. Like, we make a great team. He's been so great and so supportive and so patient with both of us. He's been very involved in Leo's diagnoses and his evaluations and everything. So honestly, I couldn't ask for anything more. I just wanted to make it like a public announcement, because I'm not necessarily going to sit here and advertise every single time that my child, obviously if it comes up in conversation or whatever, but I'm not going to sit here and like constantly advertise that my child has ADHD and autism, simply because I don't want him to feel like he has to use it as a crutch, or that he needs to like use that as an excuse for his behavior or anything like that. That's just not what I'm about. If anything, I want him just to feel supported and validated. And I think that's really all I can do as a parent, as a mom. And again, I'm so lucky that I have such a great partner to go
You
in
are.
on this journey
He's a great
with
guy.
me. Thank you.
He is. He's one in a million, and I'm glad that you have him. At least, he didn't compare your son to Rain Man.
Yeah. Yeah. But you have your parents. Also, you also have a
Yep.
great team. You have a great, great, great team. And now
It's
you have me
a team
and my
effort.
husband. And we love Sean. And I'm also here anytime that you need to vent.
I know.
I mean that
Trust
to
me,
all
I
of you
do.
as well. My DMs are always open if you guys need to have a conversation. I
Mine are
want you to
too.
feel like there's a safe space for you to express yourself and talk about stuff. It doesn't have to be necessarily about this. It can be about anything. Like my DMs are literally always open, and so long as you come at me respectfully, we can have a conversation. Sometimes it might take me a
Yep.
little long to get back to you, but I'm always here, and I want you guys to know that because I felt alone in some of the hardest times in my life, and I don't ever want anyone to feel that way. And I know at the end of the day, I'm just a stranger on the internet, but when I say that I really do appreciate and thank all of you guys and love you guys, I absolutely 100% mean it. And I want you to know that. So, anything else you got to say, Bestie?
You pretty much nailed it. I mean, my DMs are always open if anybody has any questions, if they're going through a current, if they're going through the evaluation process, that is the most taxing, I
Mm-hmm.
think, because you don't know what they're looking for just to
Yeah.
give them an answer. You know what I mean? You could give them the answers that they're looking for if they just told you what they were looking for.
Yeah.
So, but they have to see it for themselves, and that's the hardest part, especially in the process of watching your child struggle
Yeah.
when
Absolutely.
they're asking them to do something and they can't, and it frustrates them and makes them cry.
Mm-hmm.
That's the hardest part. So my DMs are always open. I love you all. I know that this happens once every other week, so it's
Love you,
happening twice a
Jess.
month.
Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome.
I try to be there for people. Like I really do. And anything that I know I talk a lot of shit on the internet, but anything we talk about in private, it stays private.
Yep, same
Just,
here.
I feel like it goes without saying, but just in case you were wondering, it stays private.
Anything that is said to me goes in the vault. Unless you want me to talk about it.
Yeah, unless you specifically state, I want this to be talked about, it's not going nowhere. Not even Tanya's going to know about it. She's my best friend. So, so don't you worry about that.
No,
Yeah.
I don't spill the beans about anything anybody comes to me about unless it's something that, could hurt themselves or hurt someone else.
Yeah.
Let's always keep that in mind, that we are here. Whether you're processing trauma or just need someone to vent to that isn't involved in a situation,
Yeah.
then maybe could give you some advice from an outsider's perspective. It's really, really, really difficult raising children with special needs.
Yeah.
It's difficult to raise children, period. But I would love to have another baby, but
Mm,
that wouldn't be fair to Sean because he requires so much extra.
yeah.
And he's been the only for 9 years. So I think I'm a one and done kind of girl.
Yeah.
But I'm blessed with the one I've got, baby.
Mm,
Yes, Jessica, we do have a pretty tight group.
yeah.
We really do.
I obviously want more children. Why can't I say that with a straight face? It's just weird for me to talk about, kids or whatever because we've been trying for a minute, and I feel like I always feel giggly because I'm like I want four, but again, like you
Well,
said,
you're nuts.
our children, our children require so much energy and so much attention already, and so I feel like it would be unfair. But at the same time, I want him to have like a buddy. I want him
Yeah.
to have a buddy to play with. I want him to have a best friend in life, and I feel like that'll also be helpful for him growing up with his social skills and whatnot. So
Yeah.
I want more babies. You said you're a one and done. Oh my god.
I'm a
You
one
said
and
you're
done.
you're a one and done, but I'm not. I originally wanted 4 children, and my husband thought I was crazy.
You are
And
crazy,
but that's
but I love
okay.
it.
But here's the thing. You know why? Because in my family, it's only me and my brother, and I always wanted more siblings, which is why I feel like I want. I
Just
want
keep it
more
to an
guys.
even number because if you have an odd number, it's
Mm,
always odd man out.
yeah.
So
Yeah, but I want to at least give my husband a baby girl because he's
yeah,
in
I
love
think you'd
with
be
my
a great
niece.
girl dad.
Yeah, he's in love with my niece. They're obsessed with each other. It's wild. Like she can't see him without like cheesing and like throwing herself at him. It's the cutest thing. And she's like
That's so
one.
cute.
It's so cute. I don't think I'd have the energy for kids. I'm also getting old. I mean, you
I
don't
was
have to have
32,
kids,
Jess.
whatever.
Jess, I
If
was
whatever makes
32.
you happy.
Yep. If you think that going through life with your partner and no kids and can go anywhere and do anything and
Yeah.
be happy, that's all I want for anybody is just to be happy. Happy with the life they're living and not get bogged down in the small shit
Yeah. I mean, whatever
because
makes you happy, whatever makes you and your partner happy, that's what you should do. You don't necessarily have to have children. That doesn't mean you don't like children or whatever. It's just you don't want to have any of your. And I mean, I get it. Kids are a lot of responsibility and they take up all your time and all your snacks and all your sleep. So I get that. I get that.
and give you
Um,
gray hair.
Oh yeah, for sure. Girl, I gotta dye my hair. I gotta
Me
dye my
too.
hair soon. But anyways, I think that'll be it for this episode. For the next episode, I have a video
Absolutely.
we're going to react to that kind of goes together with this one. We haven't talked about it yet. I don't know if we're gonna do it next week or the week after that. We said every other week, but because we skipped an episode, we possibly might do it next week. We'll see. We'll see. We'll let you
We'll
guys,
talk.
hopefully with more of an advanced notice, because today we were kind of just, I was just living my best potato life today, and I had mashed potato brains to go with the potato mindset. So I just couldn't be bothered to do anything in advance like I usually do. But we appreciate you all being here, and hopefully you'll be here next time. Anything you gotta say, Bestie, before we go?
Nope. Just I love you all. Thank you for stopping by, and I hope that this helped a lot of people. And if you
Yeah, me
happen
too.
to happen across this particular video and you're not sure as to what group we're talking about the anti-MLM, anti-scam commentary community.
Hmm.
We are welcome to everybody. We love everybody and just want people to be happy and not be scammed.
Yep. Alrighty, guys. So thank you again for being here, and we'll see you next time. Bye.
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 Bye bye.